procedure of state procurement, how the platform works, and is it working in relation with the start of a full-scale invasion. Thank you for inviting me. The start of a full-scale Russian aggression against Ukraine, not only in life of Ukraine, but in the public procurements, many changes were done. It's evident that in the state where Ukraine was in March and beginning of April, speaking that we could make business as usual, let's say procure as usual, was irrelevant. Therefore, on the 28th of February, the Chamber of Ministers passed the order number 169 that allowed all procurements, all public procurements of local and global and the central governments out beyond Prozorro. That's a large scale auctions for a year, over 900 billion of hryvnias per year last year. So during the when a lot of regions suffered from a full-scale aggression, well, speaking about 3-5 day procedures of procurements was irrelevant. Therefore, we think this was relevant and proper decision of the Chamber of Ministers that actually confirmed by the European Commission, by the US, by the UK, and our Western partners. But since then, a lot of time has passed, and we think that gradually Ukraine has to return to partially competitive procurements. And there are several reasons to it. Firstly, its efficiency of spending. War is not only a strike by military, but it's also an economical strike. And we as a country has to be very careful and very efficient of spending. It's not only about fighting corruption, but it's about efficiency. According to Order 169, they didn't even have to report on how they spent money. So speaking about full analytics, it's very difficult. But the clients that uploaded the reports allowed us to analyze the procurement prices for goods of critical consumption. And regretfully, we saw that in some cases, it's not massive, but there were cases where procurement price was different from the market price by 50, 60, or even 70%. We're speaking about prices for eggs, fuel. We cannot confirm that those were not well-funded prices. Could be reasonable because in the end of February, in the March, was unstable in the economy. Many suppliers just started relocation or renewal of operation. But still, we understand that in the case of increased prices, it's just banal, inefficient spending of money. Now we see that Ukrainian business is quite actively prepared for participation in Prozorro and bids. Last year in bids on Prozorro, about 69,000 of companies, 99% of them are Ukrainian companies, the bidders, Ukrainian taxpayers. So, just speaking about our experience, in March, the suppliers wouldn't even answer the emails for the most part. Since the mid-April, we see active interest of business community to return to Prozorro procurements, to competitive procurements, because for business, it's one of the markets that could support them. Actually, we are aware the private market it's like similar to Kyiv, but multiplied by 100 or by 1,000. Private market just declined, and the state could become a big client. Yes. Damaged by 5 years of Prozorro operations. So all the time, you when you go in the streets, you see like they store roads, they store monuments. Where's the procurement? Where's the bids? Maybe it's efficient, but Ukrainian business is not able to be involved. There are cool cases of clients that continue competitive procurements. 169 or 169 did not ban the competitive procurement per se. Like Ukrposhta, they returned from, since beginning of May, it returned to competitive procurements. On bids of Ukrposhta, they saved about 22%. It's about 40 million of hryvnia of savings for procurements that they're doing. That gives us one more grounds to say that for some clients in the regions when there is no active combat, we can consider return to competitive procurements. We cannot say like let's completely return as it was before the war. No, I think that after the war, Ukraine has to change, and all the public procurement sector, as its part, has to change, of course, naturally. But the procedures that allowed competitive procurements over a week or 9, 10 days, they could be returned, like electronic catalogs, electronic procurements that allow transparent, open, and competitive procurements. But that that is the essence of changes to to Order 169 that the Ministry of Economy prepared, that for the clients that are not in the zone of active combat, that are not procuring secret items, they're not procuring items for renewal of critical infrastructure, that uh, have an opportunity to procure within 5, 8 days. They don't have short time frames, very short time frames. We think to return to competitive procurements. So legally, we are prepared to return. We are in the process of preparation. The project of the order is prepared. It's being agreed with different state bodies of executive power, and we expect it to be approved by the Chamber of Ministers. For as we speak, there is still the order 169 is still in force. That allows not to conduct procurements within Prozorro and not even report now or ever. Naturally, it creates additional risks, and which is more important, does not allow to receive the fact that we could. Except for the order, what else do we need to return to competitive procurements? Nothing. Nothing at the moment. The procurers are thinking about what kind of procurement should be look like when we'll be in the reconstruction side, renewal, because there will be a lot of to be done in Ukraine. By different assessments, only the damages ruining the buildings are by hundreds of billions of dollars. It's like three budgets pre-war, three annual budgets pre-war. So all the money has to be spent for rebuilding. It's about $500 billion. So it's evident to efficiently use that money. It's not only the question of efficiency per se, but the question of security of Ukraine in the future, because a lot of investments, big investments, create big risks, create risks of super inefficient spending and unbalance between different interested groups. So we think of how those renewed procurements for renewal have to be done. And we're active participants for Prozorro of the initiatives of National Council of Renewal and profile initiatives. But being frank, I think it's the issue of several months. We cannot say that Ukraine is going to rebuild right now. We're focused at how to efficiently use what we've got right now. And roughly we can say we resisted the first months. Now we have to convert to sustainable this resistance regime, and the procurements have to reflect this process. We resisted just releasing the transparency in the first month. Now we have to convert to sustainable regime and prepare to renewal the country. Do you need to transform the platform Prozorro as is, considering new challenges that the defense procurement has our specific nature and the will be secret probably, or those transformations have been changed, or is they're ongoing? I would, it would take me about a couple of hours to tell you a full answer, and briefly, naturally, yes, we need to transform it. I will reiterate this statement that Ukraine has to change and public procurements as well. At the same time, many things were done already. Speaking of defense procurements, since end of February, all the data, even about procurements that were conducted since 2015, they are hidden in the system. They're absolutely secret, and even you don't can't even see the statistics, and it's done for a reason, for safety. And since 2016, there is a separate procurements for defense. In the end of 2021, according to the law, a new iteration of this procedure was elaborated. There were a lot of it depended on the laws and the bylaws passed by the Chamber of Ministers. But at the same time, those tools were available. However, it doesn't mean that we won't need new tools. Of course, after the active combat on the majority of territory of Ukraine, we'll face new challenges. I was thinking about one of them, just this about the scale of rebuilding, renewal, and the speed is also important, because in 5 months we'll have the heating seasons, people need a place to live, and we need to build the residential areas as well. Typology of processes as well, because we have to rebuild a lot of roads, schools, and residential buildings. We cannot treat every object as very unique, considering the speed necessary. And the price we perceived by have different shade, yes? If before the war were firstly based on the best value for money, the best proportion. Then after the active combat time, different factors will arise, meaning the compliance with the EU standards, speed, also interests of local communities, ecological criteria, etc. And reaction to those challenges, the system has to change as well. So even now, we are preparing certain things on level of Prozorro to be prepared for those challenges. So we are aware that the same speed that you were talking about, probably it will impact the price, and we understand that the speed probably is one of the main criteria for some safe procurements. As always, and an old joke, fast, cheap, with high quality, you can select two. We cannot allow choosing just two parameters. We have to look at speed and the price and the quality, and the balances of components will be different. If we had just $6 billion somewhere stacked, we could say, okay, let's do it fast. We've got the money, but we don't have that money, so we'll have to look at the efficiency, of course, but and other factors as well. Thank you, Vasyl. Dear colleagues, you can ask questions now, if you have any. In the end of March, if I'm not mistaken, there was a separate platform, Prozorro Plus, for humanitarian procurements. And you in particular, representing that platform, said that you hope that foreign players will actively join it. Did they actually join, and how efficiently that Prozorro Plus system works? Was it good? Thank you for the question. Yes, Prozorro Plus continues living and developing. For those who are not aware of this about the system, what the system is, it's not the system of procurement per se, but it's a marketplace where local municipalities and territorial state bodies and utilities enterprises, they can announce the needs, look for the suppliers, and even involve international donors if they lack funds to receive those goods. Since March, end of March, this platform conducted thousands of procurements. For over half of them were financed by international financial organizations, but for other half, our team found the suppliers. This direction continues development and will be topical for Ukraine until the need for humanitarian goods will be high. I will not make any prognosis for regarding timeframes, but Of course, it will not be fast, and it's a logical addition to the procurement system because it allows looking at the needs of local central bodies and fulfill the needs either by external help, suppliers will donate the goods, or international donors will procure the goods, or procure those goods for the needs if you have the funds via Prozorro. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for finding time. I will remind you, Director of State Enterprise Prozorro was with us. Please stay with us and look on our announcements. Glory to Ukraine.